Verse 5. Then I, Daniel, looked, and there stood two others. This is amazing because it confirms pretty much everything, well, a lot of the things that I say, regarding how Mashiach was the one speaking to Daniel. Like he said, well, a couple chapters back, he said, I tell you what is written in the scripture of truth, which is in heaven. Only one helps me in the heavens, and that is Michael. So in the heavens, pretty much everybody felt like we saw also, the congregation in Isaiah, if I'm not mistaken, regarding how Yahweh got angry with all the angels and all the host of heaven would be thrown away, destroyed in the end times. So that's why Michael becomes pretty much, through Yahushua, I want to make that clear, a way for the Malachim who actually did not rebel or want to find a way to Yahweh to do so, as when Noah made an ark. The son of man, like Michael, the son of man, like Noah, making an ark through Yahushua, who died on a wooden beam, or a cross made of wood, meaning like the wood that was used for the ark. So Yahushua's sacrifice is the wood that we use to make an ark for the humans and for the Malachim, who are the ones that gave the image to the animals. Like I said, Yahweh gave the image to humans, and the angels were the ones from whom the image was taken for the animals. So that's why in the ark there were humans and animals, because at the end times Yahweh, through first and last, would unite heaven and earth, and therefore make a way for both Malachim and humans. And that way is Yahushua, as testified through the last, the Good Shepherd. Hope that is clear. And that is another interpretation of John 10, when Yahushua speaks of how there would be two sheepfolds who would become one. And that has to do with Israel of the north and the Yahudim from the south, meaning the kingdom of the north and the kingdom of the south. Israel and Yahudim, two sheepfolds who become one. Also had to do with the Israelites and the Gentiles who would become one in Yahushua, but also has to do with the humans and the Malachim, like I already explained. So it is interesting that Yahushua HaMashiach is prophesying to Daniel that Michael would stand up at the end. And then in Yahuhanan, in the book of Revelation given to Yahuhanan, we see that Michael came down to prophesy regarding the revelation of Yahushua. So it is amazing how it works, what happened, and then what Michael did in the time when Yahushua came as a human, and now what Yahushua at the right hand of the Father would do for Michael when he comes as a human. I hope that's understood. So, but you, Daniel, shut up the words and seal the book until the time of the end. Many shall run to and fro, and knowledge shall increase. So here is Mashiach speaking to Daniel about the manifestation during the first 3.5 years, the tribulation of Michael, the only one who stands in his favor, in Yahushua's favor, the truth, in heaven, as a leader. That doesn't mean that only that Malach, he could have others like being he himself the leader of the army. So then I, Daniel, looked, and there stood two others. So Mashiach is speaking, and all of a sudden the two witnesses appear. This is like the transfiguration, when the Messiah took 3 of his disciples on Sukkot. They were on the mountain, and all of a sudden he transfigured, most likely like Daniel was seeing him in that moment, and 2 appeared next to him, Moshe and Eliyahu, the 2 witnesses, but in this case 2 Malachim, to represent the 2 witnesses, like the 2 Malachim that came in the time of Sodom and Gomorrah. So then I, Daniel, looked, and there stood 2 others, one on this riverbank and the other on that riverbank, one on each side of the one who was in the middle, like the 2 olive trees that are on each side of the sovereign of the earth, according to Zechariah 4, which then is mentioned in Revelation 11 regarding the 2 witnesses as the 2 olive trees, the 2 anointed. So that can be interpreted as Yahweh with first and last on each riverbank, as Zechariah 4 can also be interpreted, or it can be interpreted as Mashiach with Moshe and Eliyahu on each riverbank, on each side as the two witnesses.